Hey friends, Amanda here, Bare Bones Living. Welcome back. And today I am trying to get through some stuff that I had in my refrigerator and use up in other recipes. I love using leftovers in other ways. Um, and also get just meals ready to go, ready to use. And specifically, the meals that I'm working on today are going to all be breakfasts. And I don't know about you, but for me, the hardest thing is having ready to go breakfasts for my family. Because in the morning, I'm slow, everyone's slow. I want to sit and drink my coffee and not be slaving away in the kitchen making a fresh whatever for breakfast. So that's why I try to have muffins available for the kids because first thing in the morning, my family is hungry. So we try to have, you know, bananas and apples and muffins and breakfast bars, granola bars. I don't like them to have granola bars in the morning, but something that is accessible to grab and eat first thing in the morning to get them kick-started because everyone's hungry first thing in the morning. So I'm going to be making some make-ahead breakfast meals that I can have in the freezer, and it'll make my mornings a lot easier. And right now, what I'm starting off with is making some quiche. And I went with quiches because one, my family loves them. We actually call them egg pie. And they are a family favorite. Even my oldest, who does not like yolks, will eat a quiche with the yolks in them. And he doesn't like melty cheese, and he'll eat the cheese in them. They like them. So I'm not going to argue, and I'm just going to give them what they like. But this is also a twofold good thing for me since they like these. But I had saved fat from a piece of meat, some beef that I can't even remember where I got it from. But it was beef fat. And I had saved it to make something, or beef lard, and I had saved it. And so I wanted to use that in my pastry crust. And so I really love the Ruth Ann Zimmerman recipe for pie crust. And so I decided that I was going to use what I had saved up, get it out of my refrigerator, and use it in these pastry crusts. So it makes 3 pastry crusts. So I made 3 of them, and I put them into these pie dishes. And then I also made my first ham for Easter. Wasn't the best ham I ever had, but again, it was my first homegrown, home-raised, home-butchered, home-prepared ham. So they're not all going to be winners. It's good. It's not like it's bad or anything. It's just not like the honey-baked ham that I was hoping that it was going to turn out. So I chopped up the rest of the leftover ham. I made like split pea soup, and I put it in some corn chowder. So I've been using it in some other things. So something happened with my microphone, so I'm just going to be narrating for this portion. I filled the bottom of the pie with the chopped ham, and now I'm just going to top it with a good handful, maybe a cup of cheese in each of my pie dishes. And then what I like to do is actually season my quiches. I season the ingredients that are in my pie dish, and then
I pour my egg mixture over that so that all of the ingredients, all of the seasonings, excuse me, get into the pie. I don't lose any seasoning on my dish. I'm going to season these generously with salt, pepper, and garlic. And you can really just do whatever your family likes. That's just what my family likes. So I am going to be using, I think in each one of these quiches, I'm going to be using 8 to 10 eggs based on the size of my eggs. I've seen lots of recipes on Pinterest and things like that that only call for 3 to 4 eggs, even 6 eggs, and that has never worked out for me, and it does not fill the pie dish at all. So I go heavy on the eggs, like I said, 8 to 10 for each quiche. And if I'm using my big stoneware quiche dish, then it's closer to 2 dozen or a dozen or more eggs that I need to put into each quiche because those are really thick and deep. So we recently just entered into a herd share with a friend where I get milk from their dairy cow for a fee. And so I will be using fresh raw milk, but I do like to add some milk into my egg mixture just to make them fluffier. Now I'm planning on freezing these quiches, and so that they don't spill all over my freezer, I'm going to first par cook them so that when I pull them out, they still have some cook left in them to reheat them.
So I'm going to be baking that at 350 degrees for about 20 minutes. Because I'm using my toaster oven and it doesn't cook evenly, I'm doing it in 10-minute increments so that I can swap them, and then I will see if that is done enough that I'm not going to make a total mess out of it. Make sure, I mean, a little jiggly is fine, because like I said, once we thaw these, we're going to be putting them into the oven anyway, and so I'd rather them not get overbaked. And then again, you can add whatever you want to yours. I just have picky eaters, so I keep things simple, but I do not like blind bake my crust or anything like that. I'm thinking that at 20 minutes, these are still going to be a little too watery, but we'll see. So my next dish that I'm preparing is going to be breakfast burritos, and I mixed up some breakfast sausage yesterday that I had canned, and I told you guys in that video that I was reserving it for something, and that would be for these burritos. So I pulled this out and I just browned it because it was already par cooked. I had prepared this with all the rest of it, so I had to par cook it, and then I just reserved whatever didn't fit in those 4 quarts, and it's about a pound. And now I'm just going to cook up probably about 10 scrambled eggs here, and quickly assemble some burritos that will be nice to grab and go, which is also great to have. In my breakfast burrito mixture, I have hash browns that I have cooked. They were frozen. I get them in bulk from Azure. So I just brown them up in the toaster oven beforehand. And the sausage, and so there was probably like a cup and a half of potatoes, about 2 cups of cheese, the pound of sausage, and those eggs. So it's pretty much, and then I seasoned the eggs, again with salt, pepper, and garlic. And I'm just going to put those into my large tortillas. Or like 10-inch or something like that. And what I'm gonna do for these is I'm gonna take a measuring cup so that they're all as consistent as possible. And this is a 1/2 cup measuring cup. And see how I like that. That might be too little. I'll take another little scoop. So that's like 3/4 of a cup. And I'll just roll it up. My last meal that I am going to be venturing into this afternoon is going to be pancakes. And what I have here is sourdough discard. I have been wanting to get back into making sourdough. I have made it in the past. I never perfected it, and then I just kind of haven't gone back to it until now. So I just started a new starter. It's just now active, and I have my first batch of bread doing my pre-ferment. So I should be able to bake this tomorrow. But I have accumulated all this, in getting my starter going, I have accumulated lots of discard. And I've made some crackers, and I've made some pancakes. And so my family liked the pancakes, and I've got a lot of, like I said, I've got a lot of discard, so I'm just going to make a big batch of pancakes with this discard and freeze them so that I can just go in and pull out a ready-made pancake and throw it in the toaster for my kids to warm it up, and that's super convenient for me. So I found a recipe that was just for sourdough pancakes, and instead of using active sourdough starter, I used discard. So they're not as fluffy and delicious as I'm sure they would be if I was using my active starter, but it worked out fine. They're a little flat, but my family loved them anyway.
So I am using a modified version of the Farmhouse on Boone sourdough pancake recipe. So I'm doing a double batch. So I'm using 4 cups of sourdough discard, 4 eggs, 1/2 cup of avocado oil, 4 tablespoons of honey, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 2 teaspoons of baking soda. And I am not using my homegrown honey for this since I'm going to be cooking. I use the store-bought for cooking purposes. I also added vanilla to our pancakes because my family really enjoys vanilla in pancakes. And with the addition of the baking soda, it will cause your dough to bubble up.
So I was able to get all the 3 of these completed today. The pancakes did take me quite a while to get through, but I'm super glad that I did. Now, like I said, I was using discards, so they're not going to be the biggest, thickest, fluffiest pancakes. They're pretty thin, but they're super delicious, and I'm not wasting that discard. And they're actually very soft. I really enjoy these. So what I'm going to do with these is I'm going to freeze them in a single layer, like on a cookie sheet or something like that, and just stick them in my freezer to flash freeze them. And then once they're frozen, then I'll stick them into a Ziploc bag so that they don't stick together. And then, like I said, I can just take out one or two or whatever and put it into either my toaster or my toaster oven to heat it up for a nice quick meal for anyone that's hungry. So I'm super excited to have these made ahead of time, something that we can grab in a pinch. And I got through a lot of things that I needed to get through. Now I am going to can the rest of the ham that I had left over just so that I can have it preserved, because I think we're kind of hammed out at this point because I've been adding it into a lot of recipes. But I hope that this gave you a little bit of an idea of what you can do with things that are kind of hanging around and you're like, I need to use this. This is kind of what I've been trying to get away from, is don't do it later, do it now. Don't take up space in your refrigerator or your freezer, and just process it and make something with it. So super excited about having these breakfasts ready. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll catch you in the next one. Thank you guys for stopping by today and joining in on our journey here at Bare Bones Living. We'll catch you on the next one.